What's up, ladies and gents? Ryan here, DFS 5-Pack. So we're here to do a cash lineup review from yesterday, week 10. Hope you guys had an awesome Sunday. I know we had some good football to watch. Not a great day over here on DraftKings. That late Stephon Diggs touchdown definitely put things out of the, wasn't winning either way. Just saying, like, that definitely was the icing on the cake yesterday as far as not winning, I guess is the best way to look at it. But I think it's important to come on and talk about losses. Everybody loses sometimes. Like, I think for me, I mean, again, we've lost tons of times before, right? Like, come decide, were you unlucky? Was there something you should have done differently? Were you bad? Was a little bit of both? Because, definitely lost all those ways before. And just come on and do a little bit of review. Look yourself in the mirror. Is there something you should have changed, or was it just the day where you didn't get touchdown equity? I was suffering on touchdown equity all over the place. It doesn't mean my lineup was good or bad or I didn't make mistakes. But some weeks you just don't get that. I think I've mentioned this before. When we were on like that 3-year hot streak where it was like winning 80% of cash games, the touchdown equity was insane. Every week you just assumed every one of your players was going to score. And then it was kind of rough for like over a year and a half where you're maybe happy to win half the time. Like, touchdown equity was down the tube. So that's a big part of it. But still, coming on, looking through your lineup, deciding where you could have done differently, what you would have done differently, and what you still think was a good decision and you stand firm by. I was talking to one of our, actually my first DFS customers, Andy Smith, many, many years ago. Very first DFS customer I ever had. He's been doing really, really well this year. Good for you, Andy. And he talked about not using Kamara was the big downfall and how it had him in his Saturday lineup. And I said, yes, there's that. But Kamara had 15 touches and under 100 yards. Don't feel bad about not playing him. I mean, when are the chances that somebody scores all three of their team's touchdowns? It doesn't happen very often. It does happen. And when you take the loss because of it, it sucks and it hurts. But there's other weeks you win when something like that doesn't happen. So that being said, I'll stop rambling. No, I won't. Just kidding. It's just me talking the whole time. So I will continue rattling, but we'll get to the presentation to talk about a few things. Oh, my God. That was a great game, though, yesterday, right? Cardinals-Bills. I mean, that was really, really exciting. As a Packer fan, like the instant parallels, I thought, from the Aaron Rodgers to Jeff Janis Hail Mary against the Cardinals, like they were really, really close. But that was an awesome throw. Personally, for me, an even better catch by Hopkins. I thought that catch was just as good as they come, as you can see it right here. So just an exciting game. The Cardinals have turned into, me, probably the most exciting team in football. They give up a lot of points. They score a lot of points. They play fast. Their quarterback's obviously a ton of fun to watch. They got one of the game's best wide receivers. I mean, they're just a joy to watch. All right, before we get into it, guys, I just want to reiterate that we do have a current promotion going, but also longtime customer Daniel Joseph just did a little paying it forward. He bought an NBA package to give away. I was going to do it the other day. We didn't get a ton of people registered, so I'm going to give you all a few more hours to do this. I'm actually going to try to link the suggestion to this video right up here where I'm talking right now, where you can click on it. Otherwise, a couple of days ago, I did a video about an NBA free giveaway. Watch the video, follow directions. I think there's like 10 people right now. So like literally like we'll get a couple more probably by the end of the day. Your odds of winning a free NBA package will be like 5 to 10%. So that's really, really high. Otherwise, we are doing tiered pricing for early signups. Reward you guys for signing up early. The next, it's obviously less than 15 customers now because it's been up for a couple days, but we're doing half price pricing right now. It's $120 for the full NBA package. You can get it for $60. Use the Venmo or PayPal addresses below to pay for it. Just send the $60 and you are good. I'll get you a spot. That's going to be, I'm sure it'll be good through the end of the day. So if you watch this, go sign on up. Otherwise, we'll do that giveaway today too. So watch the video and get registered. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. Thumbs up is always appreciated. So as you can see, this is a $50 double up right here. Top 750 doubled their money. Finished in $11.99 out of whatever that is. 1704. So it's not a good lineup, right? A lot of mistakes were made. Do you feel bad about them? Were they mistakes? Would you redo them? Were you just unlucky? I think it's always important to go back and decide if you would do anything differently the next day. So we mentioned Jared Goff all week long. And then when we did the review yesterday, I said there's no shame in spending up today now that we have all this money to do so. That was kind of a wink to get up to Kyler Murray. That last touchdown pass obviously made him from an okay play to a really, really good one. Not quite as good as Tom Brady, but I think he was the second highest scoring quarterback in the day, or at least really close to it. With all the pay down options, it became really easy to play Kyler, who I don't think has less than 24 points all year. So as it stands, if you have the money, paying out for Kyler Murray just makes sense. He was 60% owned. Yeah, that's great that he was awesome, but 60% of the field has him. You're not exactly going out on a limb on this one. You played a chalky quarterback that's really good, and you got him. So I don't feel like there's nothing to write home there about, right? Like everybody knows Kyler Murray's amazing. We played him, whoopity-doo. Next up, Aaron Jones, 79% owned, running back 1. What do I think about this one right here? Was it wrong? Because clearly the play did not work out swimmingly, right? I think he was just over 7K. You're hoping, well, it was a lower scoring day with 118 cashing. So actually, Aaron Jones didn't kill your lineups, especially at that high ownership. That being said, he clearly wasn't a good play, right? So what happened right here? I watched every minute of this game. You guys know I'm a Packer fan. They did not do a great job of getting him the ball. And I also want to give Jacksonville some credit. Jacksonville's defense played really hard yesterday. They killed, I want to say, 3 drives where it would be like 3rd and 3, and Rodgers would hit a receiver, and they would just make a great play on the receiver, like force it out of his hands. He's coming down with it. So I do want to give Jacksonville a little bit of credit. They don't deserve much. They're terrible this year, but I do want to say I watched you guys out there playing. You played hard. You almost won the game. You played really, really hard. Other than that, I'm going to blame the offensive line more than anything. Every time Aaron Jones got the ball, he had no space to run. Thank God they got him the ball in the passing game with the 5 catches for 49 yards, which we expected. If he hits pay dirt right there, he does what we expect him to do. You would have thought in those wins they would have found a way to get him to score. They didn't. I don't think me or you or anybody who played Aaron Jones was wrong. I don't think this is one where you review it the next day and think, man, I'm such a donkey for playing Aaron Jones. The reason 79% of the field played him is because it was a good play. So I don't – that one doesn't hurt me too much. Mike Davis, I predicted 90% ownership. I was a little high on that one. I did say all week long that I would fade GPPs for the most part. At most, play him in half GPPs, I think is what I said, actually. So I should backtrack that one. I didn't really see a great path to him being awesome. That being said, he's not a bad player. And those PPR points can come up in a hurry. And it's a really difficult fade. Even in your heart of hearts, if you wanted to fade him in GPPs, like I know me and a lot of people I talked to last week wanted to fade him in GPPs. It's hard to do that in cash games. I think Schmizzle is the guy's name, Al Schmizzle. I think he said it the best when he broke it down this way. You take the free square right here, because even as bad as Mike Davis is, if he falls in the end zone yesterday, which is not a crazy thing to happen, he hits value, right? Even though he had 44 yards and 4 catches, which are all kind of low-end type of things. He falls in the end zone, pass interference in the end zone, he throws in a 1-yard rushing touchdown, and he's already above value. There's too many risks in not playing him in cash games. So for the 87% of us that used him, I still think it was the right move to use him in cash. And this is coming from somebody who didn't really like him that much. So, yeah, what are you going to do, right? Like, it's hard not to play a decent 4K running back who's getting all the touches. So we'll live with it from there. All right, next up, the wide receivers. Well, this is pretty much all the pass catchers went wrong. The only one that didn't go wrong was Jakeem Grant as a throw-in. So I screwed up everything right here. Do you feel bad about it? So let's start with Keenan Allen because he's the highest owned of the guys. This one I actually do feel bad about. I think for me, I know how good Miami's defense is. I also know really against the pass. There were so many good wide receivers yesterday that why did I get stuck on tunnel vision on Keenan Allen? And this is one where I feel like I screwed it up, right? Because there was in the back of my mind all week long, like, yeah, Keenan Allen's amazing, but the price is up there. Miami's actually really good defensively. He falls in the end zone at the end just to be decent. He's 58% owned just because of the volume he's been getting. I feel like this is when I screwed up. There was part of me in the back of my mind all week long saying you don't have to play Keenan Allen, but the pure volume that he's been on and how much he's helped us win lately, like I just could not get out of my own way right there. And I don't know. what are you going to do, right? Like, I just feel like you're wrong. And I feel fortunate to get the 13 points out of him because if he doesn't catch that touchdown at the end, he is a complete and total bust instead of just kind of a bust. Okay, talking about the Rams wide receivers. So this is another one where you have to ask yourself, were you wrong? Were you unlucky? I think maybe probably the answer here is probably a little bit of both. And what I mean by that is probably shouldn't have gone double Rams wide receivers right here for the reason that if the game works out like this, then you're screwing up twice. And what I mean by that is the Rams were effective in this game winning, but their defense was superb. I expected the Rams to win this game, so I feel good that I got that part right, but it doesn't do me anything because I don't bet on sports. I love picking on Seattle. It's worked for us a lot this year. It did not work today. I put this one in that category of wrong and unlucky at the same time because Josh Reynolds ate him alive yesterday. Higbee had a couple of big catches. They were able to run the ball relatively effectively. What I did not get right here, more than anything, I didn't think Seattle was going to be this terrible offensively, and part of that was just great Rams defense. I thought that they would give Russell Wilson some fits, nothing like this. So I think the point that I would take from this one is you didn't need to double up on him. And we had discussed on the cash game video to start the week that the odds are one of these guys is going to have a monster day, and neither of them had a good day. Cooper Kupp looked like he got a little banged up after the first drive, so I don't want to make excuses, but I do think that is a possibility. Other than that, Josh Reynolds was the player right here. Right? They were not good, so you got to own it. Definitely was not the right play. And I don't know. Nothing you can do now except realize that if you could start over, you screwed up everything about wide receiver this week, and then removing it to tight end, where you got that one wrong too. The tight end was not the reason for losing, though, because other tight ends that had some love, Dallas Goedert, Darren Waller, were also terrible. So you didn't really lose because of tight end, but you clearly messed it up. The Giants, and this is what I've talked about with touchdown equity. The Giants scored 3 times, not a single passing touchdown. Not saying one of those would have gone to Evan Ingram, but it's not normal that when you go against a team like the Eagles, you score 3 times and they're all on the ground and none of them are in the air. Again, we don't know that's going to Evan Ingram, but an Evan Ingram touchdown right there would have been really big for getting us back in the money. The Giants, I expected the Giants to win this game. I did not expect the players that I liked from it to do so terribly because I also had the Giants defense, which played excellent, but it did not translate to fantasy points right here. So this is one I was thinking about a lot last night. Like, I know I had a couple conversations with people throughout the week, and I fully expected the Giants to win this game. I think the Giants are going to win the NFC East. I think they're a team on the rise. They're buying into what Joe Judge is selling. Daniel Jones is now back-to-back games without a turnover. Wayne Gallman's running the ball hard. They got decent skill position players, so they can move the ball just well enough. Daniel Jones is also moving the ball, and the defense is good. So I'm buying the Giants, but I didn't get them right from a fantasy perspective. So got to rethink where you go on something like that. Because Evan Ingram had been getting 10 targets a game. He had, I think, 3 yesterday. Did very, very little with them. And just going to kind of piggyback off that with the Giants defense. This is one. I feel bad about Keenan Allen. I wish I'd had the balls not to play Mike Davis. And I definitely, after rethinking it, probably should have doubled up on Kupp and Woods. That was probably a mistake as well. The Giants' defense kept the Philadelphia Eagles to 17 points. They sacked them 3 times. They had pressure on Wentz on multiple other occasions. Carson Wentz, who is extremely turnover prone, did not turn the ball over once. But they kept the Philadelphia Eagles to 17 points and put pressure on them. And were playing from ahead, meaning that they had to throw a bunch. I don't feel bad about that one. There was other defenses that were better. But if I had told you that the Giants would get a double-digit lead and force Carson Wentz to go extremely throw-heavy, would you feel good about the Giants' defense, who has multiple sacks, I believe, in every single game this year? No, that would make sense. So that's one where I don't feel bad about it. It just didn't work out. And like I said, there's plenty of reasons I feel bad about some of these other ones. That's not one I feel bad about. It happens some days. I lost a decently sized bet yesterday on Overlay where I picked Alex Smith over Matt Stafford, and I was getting a decent number of points with Alex Smith. Well, Alex Smith outthrew Matt Stafford by over 100 yards. and he was getting spotted points. So if I told you that you had like 8-point head start and all you had to worry about was touchdown equity, would you feel bad about losing it? Yeah, you don't like losing the money, but I don't feel like I messed up the play, if that makes sense. So last guy up, Jakeem Grant, threw him in the write-up, talked about him. Really the only thing that I feel like I did right all day yesterday in the cash lineups, besides pivoting to Kyler Murray, which everybody used, which does nothing for me, is talking myself and our customers out of playing Duke Johnson at the end of the morning and using Jakeem Grant as the pivot. Jakeem Grant was $2,000 less and twice as productive. So not a lot went right yesterday. Made a ton of mistakes, but I feel like that was at least one thing. If you were looking for like a moral victory, which does absolutely nothing for your bankroll, that can be the one little glimmer of moral victory right there, because clearly that worked out better. I still don't love it or anything like that. It just, like I said, if you need that one thing to help you sleep at night. So that's it, guys. I probably rambled on long enough. I can be pretty critical of myself when you put together a bad lineup like this, that not only do I lose money, but other people lose money because of the way that I thought about something. Like, it doesn't make you feel good. I'm sure you guys can understand that. Nobody enjoys losing money, right? But like going back the next day and trying to figure out, again, where did you go wrong? Were you wrong? Were you unlucky? Or a little bit of both? Obviously, the last one is probably the normal occasion, because with Keenan Allen, I kind of feel like I was wrong. And being able to be like, you know what? You had that voice in the back of your mind all week. You should have said something to yourself instead of just being like, Keenan Allen works every week. Just keep riding. So that's it, guys. I've rambled on long enough. Best of luck tonight. We'll talk to you all about the showdown in a little bit.